There has been a school here for 43 years. We run the school by the national curriculum. We are sort of bound by the same laws as every other school. But we have organized the school somewhat different from other schools. The teachers who started to work here, they understood that with an open space school you have to have a different pedagogy, you have to have a different way of teaching. So they developed some sort of open spaced pedagogy. They run sort of their own school. They make their own time schedules. They make their own plans for their interdisciplinary work. So we have 6 teachers' teams or 6 classes, 6 schools within the school.
The thing about engaging the students into what happens right now in society, you know, in our country but also in the world, is it's a big task, and it's something that schools have a responsibility to do. So when you were in Eira's class, where she talked about the Syrian refugees and the fact that that's a catastrophe in a way that hits all of Europe, it's something that we are obliged to make them aware of, and it's also something that when they get informed about that and when they really have a knowledge about that, they can use that knowledge to draw lines back in history as well. So it helps the students in subjects such as history to see, oh, there have been several occasions in the world where we have had refugees coming in great waves into different countries, and what did it mean then? What does it mean now? And that's a big lesson to teach, and it's not one lesson, it's a skill really to see what sort of the reasons behind and what are the reasons that trigger a happening.
We build societies in a way. We train students for tolerance. We make them grow cooperational skills. We sort of bring values to their minds, and to some extent I think the schools should be correction to society. If there were only a market that would develop societies, we would have not as good societies as we have. And I think one of the reasons that one could say that the Norwegian school is quite a good school is that the Norwegian society is a good society where there is a lot of trust between people. We have a system based on trust, and we can actually have it in this country. And I think this comes from the values and the tradition and the skills that is being trained throughout the school.
In the States, they really like to push forward the people that are really, really good. So you'll be put in extra classes, you'll be put in special classes where you have like just the higher level pupils will be together. Here it's more a theory of equality.
What research I think shows very clearly is that grades does not foster teaching. Grades foster obedience, foster something else. But if the kids really want to get better in things, then you can't always being judged. We hear from teachers at the upper secondary school that they quite easily spot our kids within a few days, and they say that they're quite interested in learning. They're not better than the other kids necessarily, but they're interested in learning. They're quite good at getting a task and sort of getting into the task, just grabbing onto it. They're good at organizing the other students.
Right now we have politics. And the main theme in politics is refugees.
Yeah.
So in every class we have, we talk about refugees and work with refugees.
We have like a debate where we talk about political parties in Norway.
Right now there are local elections going on in Norway. So on Monday the 14th, all of Norway will be voting for local representatives in their municipalities. And that's something we want to teach the students about. Actually, it's something that the national curriculum says we should teach about. But at our school, we like to make everything one sort of holistic view on things. So what you've just seen is a debate where the youth politicians from 7 different parties have been invited to come and talk about their politics in front of the 10th grade. So the 10th grade, they are the oldest students here.
Most of the students, they really know about 5 or 6 professions. You can be a doctor, you can be a lawyer, you can be a teacher or a nurse, and often stops there, or an engineer, and then it stops. So we take all the parents in, or a lot of parents, and we say, well, you can tell the kids about your job, give them a task to make them work like you. So we've had sort of a graphic designer who would sit up the class and design a logo. Once we had a ambulance driver who was sort of telling what their job like and stuff like that. In this school, students also have to sit and listen, but we try to, as much of the time as possible, we try to give them opportunities to choose, give them different ways of working, or to challenge sort of make up their minds. Challenge decision making. It's one of the really important issues that at this age what we train them for. They should sort of take a stand.
We had a debate where we debated over the different parties.
Yes. And we have math and English and Norwegian. Yeah.
Spanish.
Some normal classes, but we discuss a lot from other schools.
And we made a rap in the music. Rap.
Music. We like rap.
Yes.
So we make a rap and then we go on
Yes.
about freedom.
We see that most of our kids that are attending this school today, in 20 years, they will work in jobs that don't exist today. So schools traditionally are training students for the past. So we have to train them for the future, and that is quite difficult to sort of know where we're going. But the combination of deep knowledge within the subject and cross-curricular interdisciplinary skills, that is sort of the combination. We're going to be working on that in the future as well. The freedom to sort of make mistakes, because that's what brings us further on.